Simple piece of firewood. Turn this into this. Hey folks, it's been a while. Been busy, been working on things and just really not in the mood to edit, believe it or not. It takes a while and I'm not that good at it. But anyway, this one's quick. I just want to do an update on the CJRB Pyrite. So it originally had the steel scales on it that I coppered. I enjoy the process of coppering, but I don't really like the way it turns out. I mean, it looks cool for a minute, then I get tired of it. So I heat treated the steel and rode it for a little while. But again, I bought this knife to customize. Originally with epoxy, and I still probably will, but I just don't have any yet. So I got even more use out of this firewood. A piece of a fell tree that we found on a camping trip. And we were just out there collecting firewood on the Thanksgiving camping trip and saw this, that it was, when I started cutting into it, how dense it was, and saw that it was walnut. And thought, well, I'm taking home some of that. So I took home about a 3 or 4 foot section, and I've been getting a lot of use doing random paper towel holder type of thing. And this time, scales for a CJRB Pyrite. Button lock. It actually, surprisingly, works pretty well. You got here. So came out, I wound up buying this VV titanium pocket clip for like 10 bucks, I think, on Amazon. And I'll polish it, I believe, polish it and polish the blade eventually. But yeah, so there it is. It's pretty simple. And of course, I always make errors with these things. The first one is the stop pin is never aligned. So if you know a good way to transfer these holes that don't go all the way through to another piece of material. I've tried using masking tape, measuring different things, but it always comes out slightly off. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it comes out slightly off. It still works, but it's just a little bit off. So there was that, and I always forget when I do these scales to count that all of these holes have countersinks to them. Even the ones for the back spacers, you can't hardly even tell it, but there is a countersink. So I always wind up drilling all the way through for this hole first, and then remembering, oh yeah, I have to countersink. So that means I have to figure out how to countersink them afterwards, which creates a problem like here, where my bit wanders off and winds up with a bigger hole than necessary. And also when I was doing the countersink on this hole for the back spacer as well as the pocket clip, I drilled all the way through because that's fun. So I would like the pocket clip on this side, but the only way that I could have the screw hold down on the back spacer was to put the pocket clip on this side, because the hole is bigger than the actual bolt. So that was a mistake. I'm sure there are many more. It's not completely even. But on this one, believe it or not, it's completely centered, which is nuts. Do it this way and have it centered. It's not usually the case, but it's fun. It's really light. And yeah, I'll ride this for a little while. Still probably wind up doing something with epoxy, but see how this fares. It's probably swell and everything in the humidity, and see how it doesn't rain, especially dust and debris with the ball bearing spacers. But on the close, it's quiet. The open, if you're not on the button, sounds pretty good. It sounds better than with the steel scales. It's still just a $50 knife. That is sharp. I don't know if you can see that. So just playing around. The weather's been too nice. There's been too much stuff to do to actually like edit real videos. I've got a few in the pipeline for doing some leather work. I've got some trailer things to do. That trailer's hooked up, all lights work, and we're going to head and meet a state trooper that have just been sitting on. Like I said, life hits, and I'd rather spend the time with my kids, quite honestly. So anyway, if you like it, let me know. Leave any comments below of what you would do better, what I did wrong, quite a few things. And if you know how to transfer holes, like transferring these holes, and you see that one does not go all the way through. any good methods for transferring holes, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. I'll take those to account and make use of them in the future. Anyway, if you enjoy these type of things, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. CJRB Pyrite, Walnut Scales. All right, go build something.